We're about to tear down a cyber attack that was so much more than a data breach. It was a seismic shock, a wake-up call for how an entire nation thinks about war. And it all starts with a truly chilling warning.
Look, that's not a line from a sci-fi movie. That is the stone-cold reality of conflict in the 21st century. And the 2011 Mitsubishi Heavy Industries attack laid it all bare. It's about a new kind of defeat, one that happens in total silence, through fiber optic cables, long before a single shot is ever fired.
You've got to understand, the whole idea of a battlefield has changed. It's not about tanks and ships anymore. The real war, the most critical one, is being fought over information. It's not about destroying a weapon, it's about stealing its soul, the philosophy behind it, the design choices, and most importantly, all of its hidden weaknesses. This is warfare by infiltration. So back in 2011, Japan got its first major warning shot in this new invisible war. The target? Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, MHI. I mean, this is a titan of Japan's defense, space, and nuclear industries. And this was no random hack. This was a targeted, military-grade operation.
All right, let's just break down the facts here, because the details are pretty wild. The scope alone, at least 80 infected machines. And the targets? Defense, nuclear, space, missiles. We're talking about the absolute crown jewels of national security. But here's the kicker, the part you really need to get. It was a successful lateral movement attack. This means they didn't just smash a window and run. They got in, and then they roamed free through the entire network.
So what is this lateral movement thing, anyway? To really understand how dangerous the MHI attack was, you have to understand this technique. It's the key that turns one tiny little crack into a catastrophic failure of the whole system. It's how attackers find a company's deepest, most valuable secrets.
Okay, picture it like this. Breaking into a building, that's step one. But lateral movement is what happens after they're inside. The attacker slips in through one unlocked window, let's say one employee's computer. But then they discover that all the internal doors are also unlocked. They can just walk horizontally from the sales department to the R&D lab, collecting keys and passwords as they go, until they're standing right in front of the vault.
And here's the classic playbook for how they do it. It starts with something so simple, an email that looks completely legit. An invoice maybe, or a schedule for a conference. An employee clicks. Boom. That's the beachhead. From there, the malware phones home to the attackers. Then they start mapping out the whole internal network, finding the shared folders, the design servers, and then they begin that lateral movement, patiently hunting for the good stuff to steal. It's methodical, and it's devastatingly effective.
And here's why it works so well. I mean, just look at this mismatch. It's a totally unfair fight. On one side, you have a dedicated state-sponsored team, mission planners, expert malware developers, intelligence analysts, even specialists who know Japanese corporate culture inside and out. And who are they up against? Well, regular employees who can't possibly spot every fake email, an IT department that's often just focused on keeping the firewall up, and managers who often see cybersecurity as just another IT problem. It's completely lopsided.
So what was the real damage here? A lot of people think, oh, they stole the blueprints for a submarine. But the truth is, it's so much more dangerous than that. It's not about stealing the what, it's about stealing the how and the why.
A modern weapon isn't just a piece of hardware, it's a whole system of systems. It's the science behind the armor. It's the deep logic programmed into its guidance computer. It's knowing exactly how it might fail. It's secret communication methods, and even all the bug reports from the engineers. When you steal all of that, you're not just stealing a blueprint, you're stealing the weapon's DNA.
And here it is, the absolute gut punch. The ultimate goal for an attacker like this isn't to build a copy of your missile. It's to learn exactly how to jam it, how to evade it, and how to destroy it. Once they understand how it thinks and what its weaknesses are, they can develop the perfect countermeasure. They're learning how to kill your defenses before they ever have to face them.
So, why was a giant like MHI so vulnerable? How did this happen? Well, it wasn't just one single mistake. It was a perfect storm of cultural and technological weaknesses that had been brewing for years.
You have to remember what 2011 was like. That old security model, the castle and moat, where everything inside the corporate firewall was considered safe, that was falling apart fast. Companies were starting to use the cloud, employees were using VPNs to work from home, and the line between work devices and personal devices was getting super blurry. The inside just wasn't a fortress anymore.
And right in the middle of this chaos, Japan had this kind of triple affliction.
First, critical networks weren't properly separated, so an attacker could hop from a regular office PC right over to a top-secret design server. Second, way too many people had the keys to the kingdom, admin rights they just didn't need. And third, and this is a big one, there was no culture of actively hunting for threats. They were just waiting for alarms to go off, instead of assuming the bad guys were already inside.
And please, do not make the mistake of thinking this was a one-time thing. The MHI attack was just the one that got famous. These same tactics are being used constantly against all of Japan's most critical sectors: defense, space, nuclear, semiconductors, even universities. This is an ongoing campaign.
The attacks you read about in the news, that is just the tip of the iceberg. The real estimate is that dozens, maybe even hundreds of similar successful attacks have happened, and we've never heard a thing about them. A silent war is raging, and most of it is completely invisible.
All right, so what's the fix? Well, the answer isn't just buying a new piece of software. It requires a fundamental shift in mindset. A shift from just putting up walls to building active, resilient security. And all of that has to be built on a foundation of national resolve.
And this right here is the blueprint. It's not magic. It's just about doing the fundamentals with absolute discipline. A zero-trust model, which means you assume everyone is an outsider until they prove otherwise. Physically separating your most important networks. The principle of least privilege, which just means people only get the access they absolutely need to do their job and nothing more. And finally, constantly hunting for threats, assuming they're already inside.
Let me be crystal clear. The technology to stop these attacks exists. The strategies are well known. This isn't a technical problem anymore. What's been missing is the national will, the resolve to actually implement these things with the seriousness that they demand. And so we come full circle, right back to that stark warning. The 2011 MHI attack wasn't a hypothetical. It was a proof of concept. It demonstrated that a nation's entire ability to defend itself could be neutralized without a single bomb ever being dropped. The very foundation of a country's defense can be stolen, leaving it utterly defenseless.
The MHI attack was the first big, bright, flashing red light on the dashboard of Japan's national security. That was over a decade ago. So the final question we have to ask ourselves is this: how many more lights have come on since then? And is anyone even paying attention to the dashboard anymore?